The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida. This is episode 19B of the Finding Florida podcast on the Florida Podcast Network, Freedom RVing on the Gulf Coast.
We hope you're ready for an adventure.
Welcome to Finding Florida, the podcast that takes you from country to the coast. Join your tour guides, an unlikely pair, city girl Jemmy and country boy Glenn, as they explore the amazing sights and sounds of the Sunshine State.
Last month, we hit some of the amazing festivals in Florida. Go back and take a listen to episodes 18A, B, and C. One of the other things that Florida is known for is its RV culture. There's a lot of open road in Florida, and people take advantage in their RV. It seems like half the visitors to Florida arrive in an RV. So this month, Glenn and I and my son Jordan hit the road in an RV provided by Freedom RVing as we headed from Venice below Sarasota through Punta Gorda and met up with our sister show Beach Talk Radio in Fort Myers Beach. We have a whole lot of adventures and stops planned for you, so hop in the 31-foot Thor 4 Winds Class C RV and let's get on the road.
And don't forget that all the pictures and videos of all of our escapades for this trip, and there are a lot because we had to take 1,000 pictures in the RV, are found in our show notes at findingfloridapodcast.com and all our social media. And we're doing a lot more videos, so be sure to go to Finding Florida Podcast on Facebook, and you'll see a lot of our videos there as well. Oh, yeah. Well, it's Thursday, it's 1 p.m., and this adventure is about to begin. Well, I just arrived in Venice, Florida, below Sarasota on the west coast along Route 75. I'm meeting Jemmy and JoJo at Freedom RVing to pick up our RV. And if you remember from episode 19A, Freedom RVing is a whole new concept in RV lifestyle. And here's how Randy from Freedom RVing described it.
Well, Freedom RVing, we basically make RVing simple. We own a fleet of RVs, and as a member of our club, you can take our fleet of RVs as often as you like.
Well, Jemmy and I have just arrived in Venice. We are on the Gulf Coast. You drove, 3 or 4 hours?
I drove about 3.5, 4 hours to get here, and it was fun. I had my son in the car with me. That's fun, right?
And we're going to have your son in the car in the RV with us. Because we are at Freedom RVing to pick up our RV and to get our lesson.
Yes, we are. And I'm so excited because I'm just excited just to be in an RV that's moving. I've never been in an RV while it's actually moving. This is really cool.
I've never been camping, actually, so this should be interesting, too. So we are with Kevin, and Kevin, we have an instruction to do. This is something you do with your first-timers all the time.
Right. With Freedom RVing, the majority of our members have never RV'd before, so we have a 90-page PowerPoint where they're going to go through. It's pictures and all of that, so it's easy to learn. If somebody's really not up to snuff with our members, we'll bring them back for unlimited training, too, to make sure they're comfortable.
And there was a lot of pages on poop. There was a lot of pages on poop, is what I saw in there. And that was
I made you read all of them.
Yes. Well, I do live on a farm, so I'm used to that. But you handle it a whole different way here. So yeah.
You do, because you're holding your wastewater at times. You're allowing it to flow at other times. We're going to tell you exactly when and where you can let it flow.
And all the RVers out there are going, yep, we dealt with that, too, when we first started.
Yep.
And all the non-RVers are like, ew, let it flow, ew.
Well, we're excited to do this.
Alrighty, here we go. Another chance for us to do what this show does best and hit the road.
A big, big road.
Ready, JoJo?
Ready?
Yeah, baby! Here we go. Okay, so we are all set up at Mayaka RV Resort here in Venice. We're very excited and all set up not because of anything I did, but because
it really wasn't, was it?
The two gentlemen on the trip, Glenn and my little JoJo. So So while they were out there hard at work, I was in here doing a little Jemmy's Curved Cube Continues recording. That was me. While you're out there hooking up electric, water, cable, sewer. So tell us all about what you just had to do to get this big old RV 31-footer hooked up at Mayaka.
They gave us such good directions today that I did it the first time. Jojo and I did the first time. He helped hook up the water. He helped hook up the sewer.
What?
I also helped hook up the poop.
Tell them what else you had to do because I couldn't get under there. I'm too old.
I had to do the Lego bricks.
The Lego bricks?
That's what they were.
Which are used for, do you remember what they're for? Why did we put those under the tires?
Where'd they go under?
Yeah.
Is that nope?
Is it nope?
The jacks. They went under the jacks.
Under the
when
jacks.
we leveled the trailer, which we did the first time, by the way.
Yeah. Listen, the guys at Freedom RVing, they're no joke. Their training course was intense. We took the short version, but it was still intense. And they left us with a book, like a take-it-home manual that they wrote themselves, guys, of all the different things. So we had the manual with us. So Glenn kept popping in, okay, what do I do next? And I'm like, okay, do this, I don't know.
And we determined something else important, and that's who's sleeping where in the RV.
Yes, we did. We did, because that is very important. So the layout of the RV is this. There is one big bed in, like, the main room in the back. And if you think of a single mobile home, how there'll be the room in the back, that's basically what this layout is. So the bedroom's in the back. We put out the slide. Is this called the slide or the slider?
It's a slider, and it's the whole length of the truck.
Yeah,
it's the
whole entire length. So after we parked the RV, Glenn had to do it over again because we realized if we put the slider out, we were going to hit the water pump.
You thought of that, by the way.
So that was going to be bad. We couldn't return the RV with the water pump dent in the side of it. Oh God. So anyways, we had to do that do over, but we got the RV parked and settled in. And yeah, so then we had to decide, okay, who's getting what bed? There are first of all, I'm shocked how many sleeping areas. So you could fit easily at least 2 people on the big bed in the back. Then there are 2 bunk beds in the middle of the RV,
and then there's one behind mommy.
Yes, and there's another one behind. I'm sitting facing the back, so behind me is the front of the RV. And what Jordan's referring to is over the cab of the RV. There's like this other random, it could be a bed, it could be storage. It's kind of cool. And then off to the on the other side of where we are, the main sitting area, we're sitting at the dining table, the dinette area. And then there's a couch. Full couch. Which kind of unfolds like a futon. So you could fit another 1 or 2 people. You could fit like a gang of people in this thing. I don't know where all their stuff would go because between the 3 of us, we pretty much packed it tight. But it's really
I get the big
awesome.
bed in the back because we determined I didn't fit in the bunk.
Yeah, we tried to please just do me a solid just so I can have a laugh. I need to see at least attempt to get into the bottom bunk. And you did it. So that picture will end up in the gallery. And Jordan stood next to him just for a good measure. Did you have something else to say, JoJo?
He's ready to eat.
I have to pee.
You have to pee. Was it fun helping Glenn hook up everything outside?
It was fun hooking out the poo-poo.
The poo-poo? He's 7. He's all about the poo-poo. Yeah. All right, guys.
Well, let's just clarify. I hope we hooked it up right.
We hope we hooked it up right. We hope we didn't cross the streams. And we're about to find that out as we run the faucets and see what comes out. And with that, we're going to go finish settling in and getting ourselves started on this RV trip in Mayaka!
Well, we just got done our first night in the RV.
Yep.
How'd it go? Jemmy had the top bunk.
I did.
I heard a lot.
And I didn't fall out. No, I did not fall out. That was perhaps lacking a slight grace, but it was definitely a controlled exit from the top bunk.
You need a parachute. I thought about putting a parachute on her.
I was more excited that my son, who was in the bunk below me, did not fall out. So, how was sleeping in the RV your first time, JoJo?
It was the most awesome thing on the planet.
What did you have at the end of your bed that you fell asleep with in your bunk?
a TV.
You had your own TV, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it had cable on it, which is, I mean, come on. Like, you are doing vacations right. I am already jealous of you. This is pretty exciting.
Top Bunk had a little TV, too.
It did. It did. They each had our own TV, and then you had the big bed in the main room in the back, and you had a big TV, and then there's a TV all the way in the front of the RV. So there are TVs galore.
More TVs in this little tiny 30-foot RV than in my house.
Same here. It's kind of ridiculous now that I think about it. But
and we all showered this morning, although it's a little tight for my 6'2" frame in that shower.
Yeah, I got out and I said, I don't know how you're going to do it. I really don't know how you're going to do it. So I'm really excited to get this RV on the road, get to the beach. What are we doing at our first stop? We're searching
for shark's teeth.
I'm really excited
Apparently,
to do.
Right here in Venice is shark's teeth capital of the world.
Yes.
And it's not modern sharks. Apparently it was ancient sharks, like from millions of years ago, that the teeth have they keep washing up.
They keep washing up. So I'm really excited to go check that out. And apparently the tool of choice for the experts is a pasta colander. Yeah. Yes, you heard it here, folks. A pasta colander.
Jojo has his pasta colander.
Luckily, the RV comes with one, so we have our shark tooth
Let's not tell them we're digging sand with the pasta colander.
But shout out to Mayaka RV Park. Thank you so much for putting us up last night. We are already having a great time, and now it's off to the beach.
Off to the beach. It's JoJo's first time at the Gulf of Mexico.
Woohoo!
Well, we have just been looking for shark's teeth.
Yes. Venice Beach, and it is beautiful. The shark tooth capital of the world did not disappoint.
Oh,
and wow, we had a goal of just hoping we could find one, and then I kind of jokingly said, well, let's hope we can find 3. And how many did we find?
Found 3.
We found
Now, let's just say they're baby sharks.
They are.
Tiny sharks.
They're tiny little ones, especially the one that I'm going to keep. It's like the baby of the baby. But it was just such a joy to have my son out there. So, Glenn, you went out and you took the colander and you filled it with muck, with beach stuff. And then you came and dumped it at our feet, and then Jordan and I sifted through it. It was a tag team effort.
That was great. This is a beautiful beach, by the way.
It is. Beautiful. We walked out and kind of felt like we should be whispering because it's a very quiet beach.
Compared to the ocean, it's very quiet.
Yeah. But it's bright green and just gorgeous. It's like, and that's Jordan running away from them. We're having a good time.
You're getting wet though, buddy.
He's getting a little wet. So what's the rest of our day look like?
All right, we're heading off to lunch right now at Old Salty Dog with one of my co-hosts for the Horse Radio Network, Wendy Ying, and her boyfriend Kyle.
Yes.
We're going to eat there for a quintessential seafood experience.
Yep.
At the beach. And then
I'm picking up some crab.
We're going to the dock.
I can't wait. We're going to see some authentic crab fish boats and things. It's going to be a fun, good time. Checking out this Gulf Coast experience. Once again, we are with Freedom RVing. They are funding this whole thing, bringing us down the coast, and we couldn't be happier. We have our RV parked right here, and it's just a joy. And we're going to take it now from this beach down a little bit to the beach at the Red Coconut.
On the way to the restaurant.
We can. You're so silly. He comes to me before we came all the way out here. He's like, I was all worried about where am I going to change after we get wet, and I thought, wait a minute, we have everything with us. We have an RV. I'm like, yeah, duh, Glenn. That's the beauty of the whole thing. So let's go from one beach to eating some lunch.
We were just cleaning up at the shower, walking off the beach here at Venice Beach.
Because we've left our towels in the RV and we needed to wash our feet off. And who do we meet under the water? Rachel from Indiana.
Yes, exactly.
But you live down here how much of the year?
3 months at a time usually.
Yeah.
Sometimes 6. Last year I was here for a year, so that was really, really cool. But
why Venice?
It's the most beautiful place on the planet, I think. I've been to I even went to California. Like since I left here, I went to California. I went to Hawaii.
Ooh!
I went to Waikiki. I went to all these different places, and to me, this is like the best.
It's beautiful.
But I don't want anyone to know about it because the more that people come here,
your secret is safe with us. We promise. We'll just edit all of this right out of the show. Edit right out.
The 10,000 people that listen will not know.
Okay. So what's the next question?
All right. So you are back and forth, and so you're leaving tomorrow to go back to Indiana. And you were saying the number one thing you're going to miss about Florida is what?
Oh, the thing I'm going to miss the most is the ocean.
Mm.
The way that the waves are here, the way that it feels, being able to come and cleanse your sinuses in the morning and swim and move, and it's just the most amazing feeling. The sun, I said, was the number one, because in Indiana we don't have that so much.
1 month of the year in July.
The foliage, all the flowers, so beautiful. The architecture is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, people here have a more open mind than people in other places of the world. So you get people from all over the world that have, an open heart and open mind. It's all-encompassing. It's just so peaceful. To me, this is a magical place. I worked at the archives in Venice, and I learned about all the history of Venice, and it's a really incredibly interesting history of this town. It's so cool.
Thank you.
You're
for
so
doing this. We
welcome.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You're so
Thank
welcome.
Hey, this is your producer, Jordan.
Yes, we are sitting here in the RV. We have just left Venice Beach, and as you heard the GPS lady, she is guiding us to the Salty Dog, where we're going to go have some lunch with some friends, Wendy and Kyle. Are you excited to go have some lunch?
Of course.
Of course. So what did you think about your first time at the Gulf, JoJo?
The Gulf, I don't really know.
Was the water nice?
Yeah.
Was it warm?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Not too warm. It was just right.
And the waves were pretty. They weren't like rough waves. They were nice, gentle waves, but kind of big still. Like some of them were a little bit larger, and so you got to float around. And who took you out into those waves?
What?
Yeah. Were you scared at first?
Of course it was.
And how did you get over being scared?
I get distracted, and then I really feel the waves, and I'm like, why am I scared? This is stupid.
Sometimes things that are new are scary, but you just have to realize if you just take a moment and experience it, it won't be scary anymore.
Well, we just got finished finding some shark's teeth over in Venice Beach, and now we came out to the Old Salty Dog restaurant, and we kicked Jemmy out, and I am with one of my co-hosts, longtime co-hosts on the Horse Radio Network, Dr. Wendy Yang. We've been together almost 9 years now.
Hi, everybody.
And Dr. Wendy is a veterinarian down here in Sarasota.
Yes, I am.
Does all kinds of work for little animals and big ones, too.
Yep, and Friday's my day off, so I was so excited to join the Finding Florida podcast at my favorite restaurant in Venice, Florida, the Old Salty Dog.
And we're here with Judy, who owns the Old Salty Dog, along with her husband, Phil. And there are actually 3 of these, aren't there, Old Salty Dogs?
Yes, there are 3 of them. This is our newest, our youngest, and it's my favorite because it has a beautiful view over the marina, and it's just gorgeous.
It is beautiful. We're overlooking actually the inland waterway, and the marina here must have 1,000 boats. And it is a beautiful day, too. I mean, it's partly cloudy. It's just a picture-perfect Florida day.
Yeah, people, I think, miss out on the springtime in Florida, which is my favorite time of year. Plus, all the tourists are gone, so it's not so crowded.
But we love you tourists that are listening right now. So,
Sorry, cut that out.
I have to tell you, too, once a lady came in to me and said, I thought this was a waterfront restaurant. And I said, well, it is. She said, well, where's the water? I said, it's under the boats.
yeah, it's right over there under the boats. They're not sitting on ground. That's funny. So, Old Salty Dog, how did it get its name?
My husband was in the what was he? It was a
Merchant
Marine. And we wanted something sort of doggy because we were going to serve hot dogs, and it had been a hot dog place. And he liked, was it that people, A Salty Dog that had a...
Yeah, there was a song.
That was a song. So we decided with the Salty Dog, and we were told we couldn't have that because it had been had before, so we made it the Old Salty Dog, as long as I wasn't the old dog at the dog.
And your logo has an Old Salty Dog on it. Yep.
One of our customers did that for us.
Oh, really? So the Old Salty Dog is a seafood restaurant, for the most part. There's a lot of seafood on the menu. And Wendy, what did you have today?
Oh, I had the Maine lobster roll, which was fantastic. It had lots of tail meat, but also tons of claw meat, which you don't always see on a lobster roll, right? And being from New England, I always feel gypped if I don't get the claw meat. So there's tons of claw meat on there, and it's just lightly covered with like a mayo vinaigrette on a toasted bun. And then I also had the pineapple coleslaw, which was fantastic. It was like, I don't like a sweet coleslaw, and this was just really nice, like tart coleslaw with a little bit of pineapple. It was great.
You also had the Conch Fritters. Jemmy had ordered those, and you had a Conch Fritter with her.
And those were great. The outside was so crispy, and the inside was like hot and fluffy. And the conch there's tons of conch in there. It's not just all bread and like a little bit of conch. It's really good with a mango habanero sauce.
So Jemmy ordered, and I had half of the actual salty dog. And what makes these unique is it's not just a regular hot dog.
It's a beautiful Guy's Kitchen all-beef hot dog. And one day my husband said, why don't we just chuck that in the batter and see what it'd be like? And out came this amazing battered dog that was delicious.
And you deep fry it. You put it in the fish batter and deep fry.
Deep fried it. And now it is one of our huge sellers.
It actually put you on the map, didn't it, that
Yes,
hot dog?
yes,
Tell us why.
yes. Well, we had Man versus Food. And they wanted something, gross like they do.
He used to eat lots of big, gross stuff.
So we got our salty dog and we covered it in 3 cheeses and chili and everything we could throw on it.
Sauerkraut.
And the whole thing. And now we always know when they're rerunning their show because people come in and they order them as appetizers because they want to have them and they share them. And I'm thinking, oh, my goodness.
They're big. What was his name? I'm trying to remember what his name was. I can't remember his name.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, something.
He ate the whole thing and he just loved it. And I'm thinking, how could
Well, that was
finish?
small compared to some of the things he ate. So I got to ask you, because you see Guy Fieri going out and doing diners, drive-ins, and dives everywhere. I always wondered, did you see a boost in business after that show hit?
Oh, good Lord, yes.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, for those dogs.
Yeah.
And still, when they rerun it, people are coming in asking for it. It's amazing. That thing, people go by it.
Your food is excellent. I had the ribs today for those that don't like fish, and the ribs were tender and they were really good.
They're from Denmark.
Are they really?
They're lovely, lovely, tender Danish ribs.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
One year we had the pony driving world championships in Denmark, and Judy and Phil went to the rib supplier and made a whole thing of ribs for all the pony competitors.
Well, they were really good. I didn't know I was having foreign beef. Pork, rather. So there's one in Siesta Key. There's one in Sarasota on the, what's that called?
City Island.
City Island, right by Moat Marine Aquarium. And it's surrounded by water on 3 sides, and it is beautiful out there.
And Judy loves dogs. She has 1 million dogs. So, like, the bowls on the table are these, like, ceramic dog bowls.
They're ceramic dog water bowls and food bowls.
And I have fish on the walls, but the fish all have to have smiley faces.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I didn't even notice that before.
Happy fish.
And so
right before we eat them.
Yeah, so they were happy.
Judy, you've done a fabulous job doing this. Well, we figured out before we started recording that between the 3 restaurants, you've been doing this 70 years.
Don't say that. That's terrible.
But Judy's only like 25, so
I know.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, I drive a horse who is 20, and we're in the auctioneering club, so your ages have to add up to 100, so that'll tell you something.
Yeah, between the 2 of them, you're 100 years old, and there's not too many people that can say that, so good for you. Thank you, Judy. What's the website?
It's goodtimes@theoldsaltydog.net.
We are here at Peace River Seafood, and we have met up with Jennifer Huber. And your title is a mouthful, so you know what? I'm just going to leave it to you to say it.
Well, yes, I'm Jennifer Huber. I'm the Public Relations Manager for the Punta Gorda Englewood Beach Visitor and Convention Bureau. We're located in Charlotte County on Florida's southwest Gulf Coast.
Nice. Okay, so this is, we've made a concerted effort now to come visit the West Coast, and the timing couldn't be better. We're here with our trip from Freedom RVing, and I'm here to catch some crab, and I'm very excited. But let's first talk about Punta Gorda and what makes the area so special.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? We like to say our best side is outside, and that definitely makes us special because about 80% of our land here in Charlotte County is preserved, meaning it will never be developed. If you look along our coastline, along the Peace River, the Mayaca River, around the Charlotte Harbor, though much of that is preserved and undeveloped. So you see the mangrove trees, and that creates lovely habitats for fish, for fishing. We are the sailing or the tarpon fishing capital of the world. We've been named one of the top sailing destinations in the country. And
wow.
Yeah. So,
and when you say it's preserved, like that's set in stone, like there's been legislative action or something like that. Can that ever be changed? Can a big corporation come in and say, you know, we want to do some sort of development and change that?
No, they cannot do that.
Oh, good. Good to hear.
I mean, it's not federal legislation, but we have some state preserved areas and then some county areas. So it's it's set in stone. We're very serious about preserving land here and balancing the development. Another thing that makes us unique, so to say, everyone knows about St. Augustine, and Ponce de Leon went there. However, Ponce de Leon came here twice. We are the last destination in Florida Ponce de Leon visited.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Some history there.
Yes, a little bit of history there. But we're talking about activities, right? Well, we have about 200 miles of blueway trails, which are excellent for kayaking and paddleboarding through the mangrove tunnels. We talked about the tarpon fishing capital of the world. Tarpon, otherwise known as the kingfish, they can get up to 120, 200 pounds or so. And we're right in tarpon fishing season right now. It's a game fish, and you cannot take them. You cannot harvest them, so to say. So they're protected. But we're a big fishing destination.
It's great for the sport of it. And if you're a diehard fisherman, like Punta Gorda should be pinned on your to-do list map, right?
Absolutely. We have some tournaments. We actually have the Coastal Conservation Association of Florida is running their Star Tournament beginning Memorial Day through Labor Day. It's throughout the whole state of Florida. It's basically one of the largest fishing tournaments because it is all summer long, and they have prizes and scholarships up to $500,000 in total.
So we're going to lead into our next segment, which is we are at Peace River Seafood, and we're going to have them kind of describe the walls here because it's unique.
Yes, they are unique.
But we're also going to have them give us a crab eating lesson. A crab smashing lesson. How do we say that? A crab
cracking, maybe?
Crab cracking lesson.
Cracking.
We're going to learn how to do it properly.
We learned a little bit about crawfish in the last adventure, and now we're learning about crab. This is awesome. I love Florida.
I'm doing the crab walk. Come do the crab walk, just like me.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, we are at Peace River Seafood, and we have Jerry Collins here with us, who is the owner of this place, right?
The manager.
Manager? And how long have you been managing the seafood check?
About a month, but I've been here 14 years out of going on 17.
Oh, wow. Very good. So you know a little bit about crabs because that's your specialty here. And this building has some history that we're in, too. Tell us about that.
Well, this house was built in the early 20s. It was like a farmhouse. Then it was into a feed store. Then it got vacant. Then they opened it up for a wholesale place, and then she ended up turning it into a restaurant because the customers were wanting, well, why don't you start steaming them for us?
The crabs.
That's how they started getting it. They went with steamed crabs, oysters.
Now, your crabs, this is a little different because your crabs are caught and brought in off the boat right behind you, right?
Yes, sir.
And then
every day.
They're walked across the parking lot. These are really fresh.
Yeah. I got crabbers coming in every day. 14 to 16 different crabbers, fishermen.
How many pounds of crab? I don't know how to say this. How many crabs come in on a boat in a day?
It varies anywhere from 100 to 1,000 pounds.
Whoa. And how much crab will you serve here in a week or a month?
In a week, at least 1,000 pounds of crabs.
That's a lot of crabs. And you doing all you can eat, right?
Yes.
What's the record of person who's eaten the most crabs here?
I've had people camp out here all day and just eat crabs.
Do they camp out in your bathroom all night? Or
no, they got to leave at 7. I'm going home.
They have to go to their own bathroom.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, in the summertime, they just come in here and hang out and socialize with different people.
It's that kind of place.
It's laid back. They just don't wear good clothes because they're going to get messy.
And you have to crack your own?
The waitresses will show you how to do them.
Where are you from, Jerry, and how did you land here?
I was born here, Florida.
You're the one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Born in Fort Myers, raised in Punta Gorda.
I've detected a southern accent a little bit, didn't you? Yeah.
There ain't too many people's from here anymore.
No.
Everybody's moved away.
Yeah. Or just moved here 2 minutes ago. Yeah, exactly.
A lot of them moving down.
How has Punta Gorda changed in your lifetime?
A lot. It's a lot more. It used to be laid back. You know, there wasn't very many people here back when I grew up. Now there's all new buildings. All the old shops are gone. And they're building every day.
This is quintessential classic, though. I love it. The first thing you notice when you come in here, is the dollar bills all over the walls. There's got to be thousands of them everywhere. And they're all signed. What's the story with the dollar bills?
It started when she first opened it. Somebody had come from Maryland and said, well, I'm from Maryland. I know how the crabs are. And she said, well, if I had every dollar for somebody said they were from Maryland, she could retire one day. And that's the way it started. Now it's just everybody does it.
We're going to put our dollar up before we leave here. We are definitely doing $1. Where can people find it? What's the website?
Just look under Peace River.
Peace River Seafood, and you'll find it. I did. You just Google that; it comes right up. And we are in Punta Gorda. And next, we're going to do a Facebook Live of this, so you'll see it on the Finding Florida podcast Facebook page. An official lesson on how to properly crack a crab. And you've never done it, right?
I don't think so. I mean, you know me. I'm a crawfish lover, and I've definitely cracked my fair share of crawfish, but I don't.
Just got a load of crawfish in today.
Oh, no. You should have told me that.
Now she's camped out here until 7 o'clock.
I'll hang out.
Y'all have a good time in the RV. I know where I'm staying tonight. Let's crack some crab.
All righty.
And here's Jemmy's highlight. You have not ever done this before, correct?
No, I haven't.
Then I think there's a practice crab right there for you.
No!
And everybody watching, now's the comedy session of this show.
You're putting me on the spot?
Yes.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
You better eat that.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, the challenge is that I have to try to actually crack it open, just like Jennifer did.
Right,
okay, I'm going to give it a shot. Okay, so what do I do again?
We're going to take the claws
we're going to snap them off, right?
Snap them off.
Yeah.
Side.
All right.
Look at her go.
Yeah.
Oh, pro.
Flip it over.
Okay.
And you have to take
And now
the
Jemmy
thingy
is
off, right? The male
taking
piece
her
off.
hand.
This
she
is
has a
another
knife. Now it's
boy.
scary.
You can see is a boy.
Horrifying. She has a knife. Horrifying.
take that, and he's looking at the camera.
That's right. He's like, oh my God, what's happening?
For those that are just tuning in, this is Jemmy's first lesson in getting into
Cracking a crab.
Cracking a crab. We are at Peace River Seafood in Punta Gorda.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Can she do it?
I'm summoning my inner Hulk.
Be careful, that thing might.
You've broken into pieces.
There we go. There we go. Oh, this one's way slimier than the last. What is this?
I'm doing the crab walk. Come do the crab walk, just like me.
Welcome to Red Coconut RV Resort, where beachfront camping on the Gulf of Mexico is a landmark experience in the heart of Estero Island. That's because our vintage-style park with 250 sites has been a premier family destination on Fort Myers Beach for over 90 years. Red Coconut RV Resort is the only RV resort in the world with 60 sites located directly along 450 feet of beachfront property, with the remaining 190 sites only a short walk to the beach. All your necessities are just a hookup away.
Hey guys, we are here at the Red Coconut RV Park in Fort Myers Beach with our RV, courtesy of Freedom RVing, and our wonderful FBN banner, courtesy of Easy Signs Online.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got it.
And whose company is that?
That's my brother's.
That's Wayne's company. Did an awesome banner for us. And so we have our RV parked here, right here. And what's awesome is that every spot in this park pretty much has an awesome view.
And what park are we at?
Oh, Red Coconut RV. I pretty much Red Coconut RV Park in Fort Myers. And it's right along the beach. And so when you get a spot here, you get to back up and you wake up with beautiful views. If you check out the beach back there, there's some awesome huts.
And we're going to go over to the beach right now.
We're going to go over to the beach right now, but I just want to point out how awesome our RV is.
And it's big.
It's really, really big, and it took a tag team of 3 of us to get it parked appropriately. And so it's almost like it feels like a private beach. I don't think it technically is, but that's what it feels like.
It does. And it wasn't that crowded out here today.
No, but it was really cool because you had people set up with their tents and they had their coolers and they were almost like, I don't know if they're actually cooking out, but they had snacks and everything set up and everything. And then you look out and there were all kinds of water activities. We saw wave runners, parasailers, paragliders.
And when we say you're parking on the beach, we
You
mean
literally
you can get
are.
a site on the beach.
Like, the only reason you're not any further is because of a row of gorgeous palm trees that are blocking you. But it is just spectacular. I mean, Red Coconut could not have a better spot on the beach. And everybody that we mentioned, who is local, that we mentioned where we were staying, like, oh my gosh, that's the best place. You're so lucky. And we see why.
And thank you to Red Coconut for putting us up.
Absolutely. And also, if you've never visited the West Coast, this little corner of Florida, I just want to make sure that y'all understand how special and spectacular the beaches are. So you'll see there's so much space, almost like Daytona Beach is really wide, right? But the sand itself is just beautiful. It's like powder. It's like powdered sugar. And it just, and it falls right, and it's just absolutely, it's like the softest thing you could ever imagine. And the sunsets, and it's just, I can't even express to you just how beautiful it is. So let's put it this way. My son, this was his first trip to the Gulf, and he already said he wants to move to Fort Myers Beach. Well, a fun part of the RVing experience, as we are discovering, is that at every RV park that you go to, you meet new neighbors. Yes. It's like a pop-up community. Uh-huh. And we just got to meet Sherry, who's our next door neighbor. Mm-hmm. And Sherry gave Jordan a little rock. And tell us a little bit about the rock and what the rock has to do with the RV experience.
Well, I found one time, and on the back of it, it says RVing Rocks at Facebook. So it made me smile. I don't know what it said, smile today or something like that.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, how fun. And it gives me a little project to do in my spare time. And I paint them up and leave them for other people to find.
That's awesome. And so it's a Facebook group for RV lovers?
It's for RV rock lovers.
RV rock lovers.
There's a ton of RV groups on Facebook.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how long have you been into RVing and this whole lifestyle?
Oh, wow. I started when I was a kid, but we just bought this about 2 years ago when I retired.
Yeah.
So we've been all over the country, from Maine to Vancouver, down the coast of California.
Wow.
We live in Florida, so we try to, pick up Florida before it gets too hot.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Well, we are here, of course, courtesy of Freedom RVing, and we are really understanding how that title makes sense. It's free. You get a sense of freedom, especially with the RV experience. So is that what you love about it? Is that sense of freedom, or are you a wanderer? Like what draws you to it?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
The freedom and the wandering, and seeing so many things in this country that I've never seen before.
Yeah. What has been one of your favorite stops in your RV, and why?
Oh, wow. Probably from Vancouver down the coast of California. Just because it's absolutely beautiful down through Oregon and, the Grand Canyon, Nantucket. I mean, we've been, I can't say which is the best. Every one of them has something unique,
I can only imagine how different that coastline is because, so I live on the East Coast, and this is my son's first time ever seeing the Gulf Coast.
Oh,
and the beaches are so different from one side of Florida to the other side of Florida. So I can only imagine how different the coastline is on the other side of the United States.
Yes, it's too.
Awesome. And so you guys are about to take off as we are. Where are you bringing your RV next?
Next we're going to be going up into Minnesota, over into South Dakota.
Oh wow, you're going
Colorado.
For a stretch.
yeah, we're going for a long way. Up to the North Shore by Canada.
Oh wow. It's going to be a time. It's going to be a time. Well, safe travels to you.
Thank you.
And here's to your next adventure.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed our RV adventure so far. There's lots more to come. But Jemmy, you have an announcement that we wanted to get in right in the middle of the show today.
Exactly. Well, it's a bit of a tease of an announcement. There's something that I've talked about once or twice or 15,000 times on the show. And we now finally have a new show in development all about that thing. So if you've been a long-time listener, you might have a good guess. But the announcement for it is coming soon, we promise. And I can't wait to tell you. But that brings to mind that we should just talk in general about how we're boarding shows on the network.
We are building out the Florida Podcast Network to be the premier podcasting network in Florida about Florida.
All about Florida.
And we're hoping to find local shows all over the state to really come on and talk about their areas, kind of be like a local radio show is, covering what we do with Finding Florida, only very local. Right.
So with Finding Florida, like we're all over the state and we're really covering travel and tourism, but along the way, like there's certain towns that are just, they need our own show, like a full show. So kind of like what our sister show does out in Fort Myers Beach with Beach Talk Radio. It's kind of like what they do, but throughout the state. So we want to have shows, a show in Sarasota or Tallahassee. And, we're looking for local bloggers, publications, Visitors Bureau, Chamber of Commerce, whoever thinks that they can best represent the voice of their town to reach out to us about putting a show in development all about your town or also about your industry. So the show that we have that's coming on board isn't about a particular town. It's about the entire state of Florida, but a particular industry throughout the state. So it could be that, or if there's a certain lifestyle that we really need to highlight, the beach lifestyle, the salt life, something like that. If you feel like your brand or business can represent that voice, then reach out to us. And how do they get in touch with us? Well, you can email me, Jemmy, Jaime, at FloridaPodcastNetwork.com, or Glenn, Glenn, at FloridaPodcastNetwork.com. And the opportunity is really great, isn't it, Glenn?
Yes, it is. We want to hear from you, and we'd love to talk to you about what you can do in your local town.
And here's Glenn's highlight.
Well, for the first time ever, folks, we have a melding of shows here.
Florida Podcast
Finding
Network
Florida,
shows.
yeah, right. As Finding Florida finds Beach Talk Radio right here on Fort Myers Beach. Glenn and I are here with our executive producer, Jordan. Say hi, Jordan.
Hey.
And we have set up shop at a table right there next to where Beach Talk Radio is all set up with their broadcasting system here on the patio. It's pretty cool. We've seen this every Saturday morning on Facebook, and it's really nice to see it in 3D in person. And you just got a firsthand look at Ed's live setup. How does it differ from your live setup? Because you do courses in the morning every day.
It's actually much simpler because he goes live on Facebook and YouTube and just gets them started and goes. So it's a little simpler. I don't see his camera, though. I don't know where this camera is.
It's right in his computer, Glenn.
It's
that thing called a webcam.
He uses his camera in his computer?
I think so, yeah.
So I was expecting to see tripods.
No, I think it's straight out of his computer. Yeah, it's really simple, but it's effective, and it works. It works. And then, of course, you can hear Beach Talk Radio on Florida Podcast Network's website and feed. The later that same day, sometimes the next day, you'll get the episode. But yeah, they're awesome local show, and we're so excited. They joined the network about 4 or 5 months ago, and they're doing really, really well. They're already started, and they interview local celebrities, business owners, just random people on the beach. They do all kinds of interesting commentary.
Let me set the stage here. We're at Pete's
Time Out. Yeah, right here in Times Square.
Boardwalk area that's right near the pier.
Yeah.
So we're right at the ocean.
Yeah, they call this little space Times Square, just like you hear in
I keep saying ocean. It's a Gulf.
Yeah, it's the Gulf. Just like you would hear if you're from New York, but it's Times Square here in Fort Myers Beach.
And it looks very boardwalky, and there's restaurants along here. It's beautiful.
Very Florida.
Very Florida.
But where we are right now is Pete's Time Out in Times Square in Fort Myers Beach, getting ready to witness firsthand the broadcast of Beach Talk Radio, and we're very excited and to be on it. So we're about to be on it, and you're going to hear a little clip of what that sounded like, the melding of Florida Podcast Network shows.
Hey, welcome to Beach Talk Radio, episode number 57. We are broadcasting live from Fort Myers Beach, Beach Time Out, episode number 57. Right now, our guests for the second half of the show, ladies and gentlemen, Jemmy and Glenn from the Florida Podcast Network. And we appreciate you guys so much for taking our show on the Florida Podcast
Of course.
Network. Why did you do that?
Because you wouldn't give me a choice. You kept calling and calling and calling and begging.
That's a lie.
No, because you know what? We had a vision. We have a vision with the Florida Podcast Network to keep local voices alive. We want local voices representing their communities. And, that's what we want to do. So we want to bring on shows that are doing that.
The loudest in Fort
And
Myers.
you're the most obnoxious we could find. And we thought they're a good fit for our tone, too. And
Well-
and you guys are doing such a great job. We thought it's a no-brainer.
One of the things we didn't get to do because of illness on this trip, which happens to everybody when they go away at one point or another.
Bound to happen to us at one point.
I know. We've done 18 of these and it didn't. So we've done pretty well. Is we didn't get out to the Edison and Ford Winter Estates, which is right there in Fort Myers. So we didn't want to not talk about it. So we have a guest on the line here to chat about it. Her name is Lisa Wilson. She's Public Relations Director of the Edison and Ford Estates. And first of all, Lisa, we're so sorry we didn't make it, but we're definitely going to get back.
Well, that's okay. And Glenn and Jenny, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. And I hope at some point both of you make it down this way again so you do get to actually see the site. It really is a must-see for anyone visiting the Fort Myers area.
I want to talk about that. We talk a lot about retirement, obviously, Florida being the retirement capital, but your estate was that for two people. It was a place to go down, not retire, but to winter, to go down.
Which is another major tradition in
Yes,
Florida.
exactly.
People come here to winter.
And they were like one of the first snowbirds.
They started the
yeah, that's
trend.
right.
They really were. They really were the first snowbirds. And they did only come here in the winter months. In fact, I always joke that if they came here during the summer, Edison would have had another patent, and that would have been for air conditioning.
So,
right? So wait,
yeah, who are we talking about?
Everyone understands that 100% who we're talking about here. I mean, just in case you're thinking, are they really talking about Henry Ford and Thomas Edison? Yes, we're really talking about that Edison and that Ford. So what were some of their accomplishments in a nutshell?
Well, and many people don't realize that the Thomas Edison and the Henry Ford actually wintered here in Fort Myers. And sometimes I even have to pinch myself to make it real for myself. But they had many, many inventions. In fact, we have a museum. It's 15,000 square feet of thousands of their inventions. And Edison is probably most widely known for the light bulb. He actually didn't invent the first light bulb. He invented the incandescent light bulb. So it was really an improvement upon what already existed. And then he had many other inventions. The battery was his most profitable. And there are several theories as to why he bought the property here in Fort Myers when he first visited. One of them is that he was working on experimenting with different materials for the filament in the light bulb. And one of the materials he was experimenting with was bamboo. And there was already bamboo growing here on the site. So that's one of the things that he liked about the place.
Henry Ford followed like a couple decades later and built a house, I understand, right adjacent to to Edison's property. So when I read about this history, I was like, I wonder if Henry Ford, this was just his way of getting in good with the guy who can supply him with cheap lights and batteries for his cars. Is that what he was really getting after?
Well, the two actually met at a convention, and the story is that Ford actually drew on a napkin a sketch for his first vehicle, and Edison encouraged him to continue with his design. It's a good thing he encouraged him, huh? And so years later, the two began working together. Ford actually worked for Thomas Edison, and then they became good friends. And so, as you mentioned, Edison came here first. He came here in 1885, and then he built the homes a year later. And then Ford started coming down here.
So they did live next. Did they have hobbies? But did they go out and fish, or what did they?
Yes. Well, yes, they like to go camping, actually. So
Really?
We have a whole exhibit.
They were in a 30-foot
I
RV.
haven't invented the RV yet.
Well, and it's funny. They actually have a vehicle, and we have a model in the museum. We have a whole exhibit in the museum about their camping expeditions. And Ford actually added on to one of his trucks and made it into kind of a camper, and they called it the Chuck Wagon.
Oh, no way.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. So when you eventually get here, you need to see this. It's really interesting. It has like a cab on the back with drawers built into the back of it. And so they would keep all their camping supplies in there. And they also traveled with their cook. She would go with them. And
we didn't have
sometimes
that
the women, sometimes the wives would go too. We do have some notes from Mina Edison that she wrote in her diary that she went camping with them as well. And we know that they went camping down into the Everglades. And we even have some historic photos of them on these camping expeditions. And what really amazes me is that they always dressed very formally. In all the photos that I've seen of Edison, he's wearing a suit.
Yeah.
So even when they went camping, he dressed in suit and tie.
That's amazing.
And
That's amazing.
I don't care. Even in the winter, it's hot. So it's like
Absolutely. And so one of the things that bummed me out the most about having to miss out on visiting you guys is I wanted to relive a trip from my childhood. I remembered in planning this trip that I've actually been to the Edison and Ford Winter Estates when I was a kid. We took a road trip, my family did, and so I remember going and visiting. And on this road trip, of course, we had my 7-year-old son with us here. So I was really looking forward to bringing him and showing him all the things that I had seen. So if parents want to bring their kids and make this a bit of a family trip and come check out the estates, what do the kids like to check out when they go there?
Yes, we are definitely very family friendly. In fact, we actually have a special deal that we're offering right now for the summer months. It's starting June 1, and it'll go through Labor Day, which is September 2nd. We are offering free admission to children 12 and under, and it's one free child per paid adult for the audio tour. It's a self-guided tour that includes an audio one. So for each paid adult, one child is admitted free.
very good. And the website is edisonfordwinterestates.org. That's where you can find it. It's right there near where we were.
Yes, that is the website. And we did actually purchase a shorter domain too. So now you can also just type in edisonford.org and get there. It's just a few less keystrokes to type.
So could we all just wrap it up and go home?
So now it is time to do what we do at the end of every travel adventure episode here on Finding Florida. And that's kind of review how it went. Well, you know how when you go on vacation sometimes with the family, things don't always go like they're supposed to? Well, the RV in this case...
I don't know what you're getting at. It was perfect. It was perfect.
The RV in this case turned out to be a godsend.
It did.
And, usually we're staying in hotels and we're driving in cars and we're driving in cars to hotels, and we're some of the adventures we go on, we're changing hotels every night, which means we don't really have a place to stay during the day.
Which means utter chaos.
Yeah. And we're spending a lot of time in our car. Well, this one, we did spend a lot of time in the RV because, a certain mom and her son decided to get sick. We
did not decide to. It decided for us. It was not my fault. Blame the 7-year-old.
Yeah, well, the 7-year-old got sick, and then you've always had an issue with migraines, and
I had a migraine going into this trip.
Yeah,
and it was awful.
And the sunshine, the bright sunshine we had the whole time, didn't really help that. that.
And starting off with a 2.5-hour drive in said bright sunshine just to get there. Yeah, it didn't help.
So as you heard, we had to, I think this is the first time that we've had to make some major alterations and call some audibles during the show.
No. I seem to remember a specific incident in the Daytona area, but carry on.
That was in the hospital. That doesn't even count. So, but this was nice because JoJo was sick with tummy issues and you had head issues, but both of those were helped by being in the RV because we had a bathroom, number one.
Were a bathroom and curtains.
So I was in the front where I could open it up and be light, and then you were in the cave in the back.
Yes. In fact, there was one day, and we had quartered off this day as like just a fun beach day, relaxing, kites. Yeah, none of that happened because Jordan was recovering. He was sleeping off his tummy issues. I was sleeping off my migraine, but you got to enjoy the sunshine and get out and just sit on the picnic table all day and watch a movie or something like that.
I did. I was out there enjoying the outdoors of Florida.
Our new temporary patio.
Yeah. I got to say, Freedom RVing made this so easy. The whole process was so easy to do. I felt confident that if something went wrong, they were right there. I could call them and,
they gave us their cell phone numbers. They insisted on us. They would have been mad at us if we hadn't called them for like the slightest thing.
Well, this was your first time really camping and in an RV for sure, especially that size. So what'd you think?
I thought, it's exactly what Jordan said. It's a home away from home inside a truck. And it was so much fun. The convenience value I couldn't have even imagined. It was just through the roof because, you have your own kitchen right there. You can make anything you want. We were able to stop at Publix before we hit the road and just stock up and have a full normal snacking experience.
We had a lot of food.
It was so great. It was so fantastic. So I loved every minute of it. I loved that you could get to see something different outside your window every day. I remember the first morning, the view was of just beautiful, like Everglades looking kind of landscape. It was just gorgeous. And the next morning it was the beach and just, gosh, Florida's gorgeous, and the RVing experience just gives you such freedom to experience it all. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
What did Jordan say after, on your way home?
Jordan had the best time. He's wondering when we're going to get one. I said, when you get a job.
Yeah,
and you reminded me.
A little $100,000 price tag.
I do have a job. Remember, Mommy? I'm now the executive producer. Oh, that's right. But you need a paying job.
Yeah.
You need a paying job.
Or your $10 a week isn't going to cut it.
But it was super convenient. And it was also cool that we were able to go to places like Peace River Seafood and get, a whole bunch of crab and crawfish and take with us. But I was able to enjoy it later because we had a fridge.
Yeah, that's right.
It was just so, and all the amenities you could have wanted, all the little appliances, everything. It was so convenient. That's probably the word I would think of the most, just massively convenient. I loved it.
And we also have to thank Myakka River RV Resort and also Red Coconut down there in Fort Myers for putting us up. They were both great.
Putting us up or putting up with us, whichever way you want to put
it. At Red Coconut, we really we were on the beach and we met some nice people there. There were some nice people camping all around us. And that's the part about camping is you do meet people. You're kind of forced to.
Yeah, and people had all kinds of people are coming from everywhere, just like you are. So it was interesting. Everyone's experienced the place usually for the first time, or there's some people who it's part of their regular traveling adventures. It's such a neat experience. Yeah, Red Coconut was, gosh, talk about a gorgeous view, just right there, literally on the beach. I almost didn't believe it when I first heard that you could actually be on the beach, but you can. Coconut. But yeah, Myakka, thank you so much. They actually came in on the pinch. So major thanks to Myakka for putting us up that first night. That was a fantastic stay as well. I had a great time.
Also want to thank Judy from the Old Salty Dog in Venice. She's a friend of ours. It was a trip eating lunch with those guys at the Old Salty Dog, which is kind of this, classic beach bar restaurant,
And you know what? She has the patience of a saint, because a little behind the scenes, guys, a little taking you behind the curtain, she had to do her interview twice. Why is that, Glenn?
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I haven't interviewed 5,000 people before. No.
Technical difficulties never
I
happen.
forgot to press record. And we did the whole interview, and I realized, because Jemmy was off with JoJo occupying her son, and usually she's the one in charge of that particular piece of equipment, and I didn't do it right. And so poor Judy had to do it twice. So.
I was wondering what was taking you guys so long. I'm like, geez, there's only so long I can entertain Jordan while I'm trying to also suck down this mojito.
Well, that added a new challenge to us, too. Having Jordan along while we're doing our adventure was a whole new challenge for both of us, especially me, not having been used to having kids.
You know what, though? I think you quickly realized that the key to it is just giving him something to do.
Yeah.
And he was an awesome poop patrol partner for you with dealing with the RV setup. Like, what was that like, having him be your assistant?
Well, 6-year-olds apparently love poop. So, and talking about everything poop.
Yep.
So having him part of the sewer patrol was good. He really liked that part.
Just fascinated. It was great. It was great. Apparently, either put a portable sewer line or an iPhone in his hand. Either way, he's fully entertained.
That was funny. So overall, it was a good trip. It had some challenges, as we talked about.
It did. And then part of that was
what family trip doesn't.
What family trip doesn't? But part of that was, of course, we ended up not being able to make it actually out to the Edison and Four Winter Estates, which was a big bummer for me. I was really looking forward to bringing my son there, and reminiscing about the family trip I got to take as a kid, but. It was so nice of them to extend a future invitation for us to come back. So we'll definitely have to make that happen. And
the Mound House also. The
same,
Mound House is out there, and we never got to the Mound House either.
Yeah,
so next
again,
time we're
tummy
down,
and
we'll
head
do that.
issues are just bad news for all of that. But major thanks to our buddies Ed and Kim Ryan at Beach Talk Radio for also putting up with us and having us on their show. That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. You heard a little bit of that earlier, and we did have a good time. If you want to hear the rest of that, where do they go?
They go to Facebook and check out Beach Talk Radio, and then go check out their videos and look up the May 18th video, the one that's about an hour or so long. That's the one you want to click on, and we are about halfway into it. Yeah, you'll see us in there and having a good time. And let me tell you, this was still the middle of my full-blown migraine, and I remember I was downing cups of coffee from Pete's timeout before we got on camera. And then afterwards, I remember sitting back down, putting my head on the table, and you walking over and being like, I don't know how you just did that. I'm like, I don't know either.
Yeah, you faked it very well. You did a good job.
I really did. So you got to fake it before you make it. So.
Well, Freedom RVing, you want to Google that. You want to take a look at it. It is a new experience in how you can get an RV and have it for your trips without all the expense of having it.
And make sure you find the right one. Make sure it's the one that has a sister company to Freedom Boat Club, because there are some RV companies with a similar name, but Freedom RVing is based in Venice. They're the ones that just nailed it for us on this trip. They were so fantastic.
And it's we explained how it works and last episode and earlier in this show, and I just think it's a great concept, and it just takes the hassle of ownership of an RV out of it, and they clean it, they do everything. It's so nice. It's so
you know
nice.
what? I had dinner the other night with some friends of mine. They have a podcast called The Shrimp Tank. I was a guest of theirs a few months ago. And Roland's wife, Linda, was there, and I'd never met her before. And he was telling her about the show. She was asking more questions, and she was fascinated. Apparently, she loves to go and explore different things around Florida and everything else. And so I was telling her about this, and she just was mouth open, like eyes bugged out, like this was a whole new revelation for her. I think for the Florida wanderer, or for anybody who's coming in as a wanderer, an explorer of Florida, this is going to be just, you have to experience this. This is just such a fun way to travel.
Well, we thank them for their support. And they'll be opening new ones all over the country. They're working on that right now.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Go check out the link in our show notes. Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. One of the things we did want to mention is that we're looking for some roaming reporters around Florida, and you're going to start to hear from some of those that we're lining up now.
Absolutely. So if you heard back on 18A, you heard our very first one, my little mentee Izzy from the Reporting Live podcast, talking all about the icon in Orlando. Super cute. And then if you listen to the preview episode for this adventure, 19A, then you got to meet Dave Butler from the Florida Beer Blog. He submitted a bit of audio from us from a recent beer fest. It was so awesome to hear him go around and talk to the different people who were there. And you can do that too. And it's not just podcasters, but if you are a podcaster, then you just have to let us know the name of your show. But if not, then no big deal. Tell us where you're from, your name, what kind of things you like to get into on your free time. We just look for you submit 5 to 10 minutes worth of audio and just you can be included into the segment. So go ahead and submit yourself by emailing me, Jemmy, Jaime, at FloridaPodcastNetwork.com. I can't wait to see how many roaming reporters we get throughout the state. I think it's going to be a whole new experience for the Finding Florida podcast.
And you have the equipment to do this right in your pocket.
That's
you
right.
Can use your phone to actually do the recordings. It's that simple.
That's what Dave used.
Yeah, that's what we use on a lot of cases. So
yeah.
Well, that's it, everybody. We'll be back for another adventure very soon in another part of the great state of Florida.
Yeah, we'll be headed to Sarasota, which I'm pretty sure I've never been to Sarasota before. I know I've said that before. Sometimes I'm like, I've never been there. And then it turns out, yes, I have. I'm pretty sure I've never been to Sarasota. Have you?
Oh, a bunch of times. One of my co-hosts for the Horse Radio Network, Wendy, is there. Dr. Wendy is there. So we go down all the time. And you think that the beaches in Fort Myers were nice with their powdery sand. Wait till you see Siesta Key.
Really?
And then the other thing I really want you to see, because I think you're just going to be fascinated by it, is the Ringling Brothers Museum is there. I can't wait to
Is it anything like the International Showman's Museum that we saw?
Take that and make it 100 times bigger. So, yeah.
Well,
it's really
except they
cool.
don't have, I'd be shocked if there was someone as dead. Remember that one guy who built out the little teeny weeny figures?
Oh, you wait.
That one little miniature
You
maker?
wait.
Really?
You wait.
This is going to be exciting.
Well, you can find all the episodes on findingfloridapodcast.com. If you miss some, you can go back and take a listen. You can see all of our pictures. You have to check out our photographs, and so much fun to see what we talked about. And, because everything we talk about, we take a picture of.
You have to see what the inside of that RV looked like.
Yes.
It was
fun. And we want you to be involved. We want to hear your ideas. If you want us to come to your town, or there's something happening in your town you want us to know about, then drop us an email. You can email me at glenn@floridapodcastnetwork.com or Jemmy, Jaime.
There you go.
At floridapodcastnetwork.com.
Yes, that's right. And be sure that you are subscribed and not just listening to this the one time. You can catch us on all your podcast catchers, iTunes, and then follow us on social media. Just look up at Find FL Podcast. And we'd love to meet you on Facebook in our exclusive and closed group called FPN Insiders. All kinds of fun stuff about Florida being dropped in there on the regular. So we'd love to talk to you and get to know you and make you part of our inside group. But for now,
here's to your next Florida adventure.